Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to start with a little annual planting for full sun in the back of the south garden. You can see this big area right behind me. We're going to fill that up with some beautiful things. When we're done with that, I'd like to head over to the strawberry beds, show you how those are doing, and then we're going to head out to the dirt lands. Erin tilled me up another really long row that runs parallel our onions and potatoes, and I'd like to get our dahlia tubers out of the root cellar. And some years I've planted them later than this, some years a little earlier. I think we're still within that window where it's going to be good. I tried the wrapping the tubers in plastic wrap method of storage this last year. And when I checked on them, which I've only checked on them a couple of times through the winter, they looked great, but it's been a while since I've put my eyes on them. So we're gonna open up that crate together, see what they look like, and get whatever looks good in the ground. And these are the plants that we're gonna be working with this morning. We've got the Carolee Petite Pink Gara, which is a beautiful one. It only grows about 20 inches tall and it's much more dense in its growth habit. The other two varieties we planted this spring are the Stratosphere White and the Pink Picotee, which they just tend to be a little bit bigger. They get, kind of longer arms, a little bit more open in their growth habit. These are just so dense and they produce so many flowers that they show up really nicely in the landscape. And then we've got the Super Bina Violet Ice, which I love these two together. Oh my goodness. And these, while right now they've just got some longer arms, not a ton of color yet, they will have color very, very soon. They are just a stellar performer in the landscape, and they don't have to be sprayed for budworm like we have to for Supertunias and Superbells. They're just an easy keeper. And then we've got a beautiful Kufia called Totally Tempted Frosted Violets. See the tag right there, it's a newer one. I was able to grow this one last year for the first time, and I really, really enjoyed it. I love the colors here. However, I'm going to be planting these two in the same area-ish, but I'm going to separate them a bit because this is a very cool pink. This is much more of a warm pink. And while they both go really well with the Violet Ice, I think I do want to separate them a bit. I think that will lend to a more clean look anyway. Well, let's take a look at the space where we're going to plant. We've got some Centara Double Blue Lilacs, the Stay Classy Sand Cherries. Those are a new variety sand cherry that stays small. And then we've got a drift of the Double Ringo Double Pink Rose, which I planted these as bare root. They came to us as bare root, and I hung on to them a little bit too long. Like I should have put them in the ground right away, and I didn't. So they struggled. I think this is their third season in the ground, and I'm just hopeful that they all take off and fill in, and we've got just kind of this mass of these beautiful roses. There's something about that depth of color in the center and the soft, really, fluffy pink petals around it. They're just so beautiful. So we're going to be filling in this area here, like the whole front of it. I want it to be mostly Violet Ice. I just want it to be like a huge impactful drift. And then I will probably work in some of the Carolees right in here. I think that would be really pretty. And then maybe some of the Kufia down in here. You can see as you move further down this way, we've got more stuff going on. It just is weird how gardens evolve. Some areas evolve a lot quicker, some areas just get neglected, at least for me. So anyway, I would like to just get this filled up before we come around with mulch, because we've made it around the outside of this big loop, but stopped at about the big spruce tree at the front. But this is going to be the next push to get mulch down. So it'll be great to have the plants in, and so we don't have to worry about making a mess on the mulch. Next part is pretty straightforward. I'm going to lay them all out. We'll use the 3-inch auger to dig all of our holes. Biotone starter fertilizer, we'll get them in the ground, water them in. Should be pretty slick. all done and I am loving it. I cannot wait to show you what it looks like even just a few weeks from now. Let these plants have a chance to root in, get a little bit of size, a little more color, but just seeing that it's full is amazing. And the whole flower bed itself is not done. Like there's holes in the backside that I still want to fill in, and I'll point out a few more little holes I left open for perennials, but the color here is going to be so amazing. I also went ahead and grabbed some Supertunia Mini Vista White. See that white down there? It just draws your eye. So I feel like at least the front of this border from this point all the way around to the black bench, which I'll walk you over there, is done, just the front side. And then we need to bump over here and work on this space, our catch-all space. Oh my goodness. But what I did here is the Superbena Violet Ice, and that's the only one along the border. So it's gonna be a huge sweep of that violet. I think that's going to be spectacular. And then there's little groupings of the Gara. So there's 5 right in here, kind of tucked in with the roses and the sand cherry. There are 3 right here. Let's see, go down a little ways, and these roses will produce color all through the season. And then there's a group right in here, the largest group, and it starts here and goes all the way past that little buttery yellow iris, which is so pretty. But you'll see, like right in here, I left this space open because I want to come in with a perennial. I do think I'm going to probably need to replace this evergreen. This is it's like a Korean cedar, or I can't remember exactly the name, but it's not loving its life here. It's hanging on, so I'll give it a little time. But anyway, got to replace a dead rose right there too. Jeez. But it worked out because I didn't have enough Gara to fill in all the way and also have it all the way to the end of the border. So I'll just tuck something else right in here. But the Superbena will go all the way to the sedum here. So just that huge sweep of violet. Oh, okay. And so the next grouping are the Kufia. I love this plant. Oh my gosh, interspersed in the back in black sedum here. I think that's this variety. It might be, is it Maestro? Is that right? Anyway, it's pretty. And then in this area right here, I have Fall in Love Sweetly anemones, but you'll see that little pile. I still need to clean that up. A few of them didn't survive the winter, which this is year 3 for them, so it's kind of strange, but that's all right. We popped the Kufia in, and I left a few little bunches of roots in there that seemed like they were holding on still, so we might have them pop back up. And then 3 little Supertunia Mini Vista White, which I think looks good with the Kufia. I always feel like if I use a bicolor plant like this one, a bicolor bloom, I need to pair it with something that's clean, if that makes sense. Because like if this one's bicolor and then there's multiple colors in a whatever plant you're using with it, it can be a little bit too much. And I feel like this white Supertunia will really elevate the Kufia. You'll really notice each plant instead of, you know, your eye getting lost, not knowing what to look at. So that's this. We've got some Buddleia. These are the Miss Violet, so purple blooms, and we have some Echinacea in there. And I left that open because I do want to amp up the Echinacea there. I just had them not kind of come back. I mean, maybe it's a spot. I don't know. Bethany is doing amazing. And I noticed when I was getting the hose back here earlier that the State of Grace rose is starting to bloom. Oh, okay, but as we move down, you can see that Supertunia Mini Vista White, and it works out perfectly in a space like this because I have sedums that are small, I have Buddleias that are small, so these will just kind of accent this bed while everything else has a chance to maybe grow a little bit more before I decide what to put in here. But you can see that the front of the border here is pretty full. You know, we've got daylilies, I mean little spots here and there. Our Bordeaux Supertunia, tons more color than when we planted it. I think the plants have gotten a little bit bigger too. And then, you know, back in here, there's lots of space we need to fill. We just recently planted the black lace elderberry and some 9-barks. But we get over here to the bench, still pretty full right in here. Actually, it's full until about at the end of the ibis here. Yeah. So right in here, we can kind of maybe pick up with some more annuals or put in some perennials. We've got some alliums that need to be cut back. And yeah, it's just really coming together. Catalpa's putting on some growth here. We've really got some beautiful things in here, beautiful perennials. This is the cotton candy rue, but this is what it does when it's losing its little petals. Kind of sheds on top of the mulch there. But it's a beautiful plant. Back to the fuchsia salvia, almost getting close to a sheer back for this one. And then there's Stand By Me clematis, the lemon meringue baptisia. Oh, such a great time of year. Okay, now that we are done with all the annuals over here, and I'm just so thrilled with it, I want to show you the strawberries, which I'm equally as thrilled with. Here we are at the strawberry beds. Look at these. Look at the plants. They are loving their lives, doing absolutely beautifully. I mean, to the point where we've got runners already. And you guys, we put these in on April 7th. It was the first week of April that these went in. And if we take a look in here, you can see big strawberries already. And we have been out here picking these every single day already for probably, I want to say at least all of May, 3 weeks. Almost 4 weeks. And at first it was maybe like 3 or 4. And now like we picked yesterday. Actually, I came out here and I ate so many of them. Oh my gosh. And today we'll see how many we get. But this is a project that was a long time coming. I had talked for years about wanting to put in some really tall raised beds for strawberries. And these are, I think we ended up with, are they 36 inches tall? Or 32, anyway, they're over 30 inches tall and they're 8 feet long by 2 foot planting bed. That's the interior dimension. They're made out of cedar. And we did show you when we put these in, like we showed you what layers of soil went in. So we went in first with a big scoop of very fine shredded wood that the tree service that we have come work on our trees dropped off for us. And it was already like it had been sitting there for a year. And so it had broken down quite a lot. And so we used that at the very bottom. And then we used some scoops of fill dirt that we had sitting out in the dirt lands. And then probably the top 18 inches or so, we used the Espoma raised bed mix. So we've noticed like a tiny bit of settling, but not much. I mean, if you look in here, it hasn't settled really hardly at all. My goodness, look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that one. Okay, so these 3 beds right here are seascapes, and then those 2 are as well, which are an everbearing type strawberry, so they bear strawberries all season. And then this bed and the back 2 beds, they are a June-bearing type strawberry called Honeyway. I think I was pronouncing it Honeyi before, which I don't know is correct, but I don't know if Honeyway is correct either. I don't know why I can't get that right. It's a place somewhere. But they are great strawberries. Couple of questions that I've seen be asked about this is whether or not we cover our strawberries to keep the birds out, and so far the birds have just totally left them alone. They've never really bothered our strawberries when they were in the ground, and I don't know if elevating them will eventually become a problem. I don't know if it's just a matter of time until they discover this wonderful patch of berries, but so far so good. And the other question was about whether or not Samantha could reach the berries, and because they are pretty tall raised beds, and she is 4.5, and we put them in kind of not compromising on height, knowing that Samantha's gonna grow and she's growing quickly. She grew like a ½ inch in the last 3 weeks. She's going through a growth spurt. Anyway, so she has no problem getting in here and harvesting berries along with the rest of us. She really enjoys it. Brought my basket out, so I thought we would just go through and harvest whatever is ready today. Also, as you look closer in here, you can see that I think we have a leak. Uh-oh, what's going on here? See that? See how the water's kind of carved out a spot right there? I might have to have Erin run these so I can see what's going on. Anyway, what I was going to say is that when you get in here and look, you can see that I haven't top dressed. I was going to come in here with some straw, which is something I might still do. Most of them stay pretty clean unless you have a water issue and it gets kind of buried in the dirt. Oh my word. Okay, that's our first bed that we just harvested. So let's do all the rest of them. See what we can find. Gotta go get another basket. Oh my word. Can you believe this? Just amazing. And the only reason I discovered these two varieties, which before I had really only had experience with quinaults and eversweets. Is there one called All Star? I seem to remember that. Maybe there was one back in the day that I grew that was by that name. But 3 years ago, we were sent 5 flats of strawberries by accident, which was perfect. I went ahead and said, I'll keep them, I'll pay for them. I'd love to plant them and just experiment with 5 different varieties, 3 of which were everbearing, and it was the Seascape, Eversweet, and Quinaults, and 2 that were, I think the All-Star were the June bearing, right? That I planted along with the Honeyways. And the Honeyways and Seascapes just rose to the top, being the best producers, the best flavor, the best large, very consistently shaped berries. And while like Quinaults are a very popular berry, they're smaller, they're more irregularly shaped, and just not as consistent in the productivity department. These just blew me away, these 2 varieties. I'm trying to remember how many I planted in each bed. I did them a foot apart from one another, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 per bed in all of these beds. And I left a lot on the plants today, like this one is almost there. There's just a tiny bit of light red, so by tomorrow this one will be a wonderful one to eat. But I just could not be more thrilled with this whole section of our garden. And there's nothing quite as satisfying as eating a warm strawberry straight from the garden. I think that's when they taste the best. They're red all the way throughout. They don't have that hole in the center like the ones from the grocery store. They're so good. Oh, real quick, in other happy news, the Bathsheba climbing rose that we dug out of the north garden before we put the pond in, it survived. It's doing great. And I'm just going to train the branches onto this fence. We've got another one right here, which I barely got any of the roots of. So I'm thrilled to see that it's growing. We've got a clematis down here. And I would just love to have this whole fence covered with flowering vines. That's why we left a little bit of space, because I can still get in here to maintain either from this side or this side if I need to. Anyway, I'm just so happy with this. So incredibly happy. So are the kids. They're going to freak out when they see this. I think this is the most we've harvested in a single day thus far. Okay, now we're going to go check out the dahlias. Oh, Samantha, I love your heels.
How many strawberries is that?
A lot. Look at that. I love your shoes. That tastes awesome.
I thought this was strong.
Oh, look at that one.
2 at a time.
Okay. Does it make your eyes roll back into your head? Okay, dahlias are in the root cellar. Oh, it feels good in here. So this is it right here. Ooh, we've got some squishy ones. Oh, but there's one good one in there. All right, well, we'll see. Get these out of here. What's up with your hats? What are you doing?
Can you help me?
Sure. There we go.
Ah, my shoey.
Oh yeah, you gotta keep those heels on. Okay, I think we're just gonna set up right here under the shade of the ash tree to unbox our dahlias. Oh boy, I think a lot of them are squishy. Oh, well, that one feels promising.
There's a hummingbird.
There is a hummingbird. Oh my gosh. Good spot, Benjamin. It's on the rockin' deep purple salvia. Oh, there it goes. That was beautiful.
That's it. The big chickens and chicks are eating now.
Oh, good. Eating out of your hand. Yeah, our chickens are doing great. The babies and our other 2 hens just incorporated beautifully, and they are growing.
Can you believe I actually saw the first honeycomb coming?
You did. That was amazing.
No, it's the first one that I have.
Yeah.
It's like mid-summer. Hey, Mama.
It hasn't even turned summer yet.
It's still spring.
It is, yeah.
Feed the baby chick.
Well, yeah, if you can go in there. Benjamin will probably help you. All right, guys, so I just set up underneath the shade of this ash tree because it's just nice right here. And we will unbox these all together. So I'm just gonna take each package out and then we will unwrap. These are Cafe LA minis, looking really promising. Oh, this one's not good. See right here, it's, ooh, yuck, squishy. Got a hole in it right here, but 2 of them made it. That's great. Okay, let's do another one. What is this? Pink pom-pom. All right, so we saved 5 in this one roll of plastic wrap, and all of them came out great. Whoa, all cafe au lait minis. Ooh, look at those. They look great. We had pretty good results with this storage method, and this is the method that I will use going forward. It was an experiment for me this year because I had never done it. I've heard a lot of people, dividing their dahlias in the fall, wrapping them in plastic wrap, putting them in storage, and having really good results. And I thought, well, we're really not out anything. Let's do it. It takes up so much less space. You guys might remember before, and I mean, I didn't save very many of our dahlias this last year. I think we only dug 11 clumps. I saved 11 of my favorite ones out there, and that's what we have a representation of here. Minus one that is a question mark. I had one package that I cannot read the label. But timing wise, it works out great because in the fall, everything's going to sleep. You can spend a little bit more time on projects. In the spring, it's hard to squeeze in a day like before when we had crates and crates and crates of dahlia clumps that I had to go through and divide, and then we had to let them heal, like the cut ends heal over before we could plant them. It was a multi-day project and I always kind of dreaded it. So this is a really great one. Great method. And I would say I didn't count, all of them that came out nicely versus the ones that didn't, but I would say it's probably close to 98% success. So this is what we're looking at right here. We've got labels for each one of them, even the question mark variety. Like I can't, what does that say? I do not know. But look at these. They all look so good. Cafe au lait minis looked great. This was probably one of the better varieties that came out of storage. They all just look just as fresh as can be. So let's just go through the varieties. And you guys, I only have a few that are actual varieties, so let's look at those first. So we just talked about the Cafe au lait minis. We've got the Hillcrest Suffusion. We've got Sweet Natalie. We've got Peach Bud, Salish, October Wedding, Lilac Time, Bloomquist York. That's it on the named varieties. The other ones are varieties I've had since the beginning, and I somewhere along the way lost what the variety name was. But like this pile right here, this is Peach Pompon. I like the pom-pom type dahlias the very best. They're really symmetrical looking ones. They're smaller in size. They're easier to work into bouquets. They're not commanding. They're not so big, like big. Those dinner plate dahlias, they're pretty, but they are not fun to work into flower arrangements. So I found myself just leaving them out in the dahlia patch because I just didn't really love using them in flower arrangements. But the pom-pom ones, I do. And water lily type, which is this pile right here. These are a pink type of water lily. We've got multi-pink, which I can't remember. I think this is a multi, like it had pink and maybe a little bit of like apricot and yellow in it. And then this whole pile is pink pompons right here. And I saved a lot of those because I really like that one. And then I've got one mystery. Don't know what this is because I cannot read that. What does that say? I have no idea. It was labeled at one point in time. And then I decided to bring out the dahlias we started from seed because they desperately need to get out of this container. We've got Bee's Choice, which is a seed blend from Florette. We've got a variety called September Morn and a variety called Tillamook Twilight. And there are 50 of them right here. So we're gonna take these out and get them in the ground. Here we are. You can see the row of onions and potatoes right here along the fence line. Then there's a weed-filled walking path. We're gonna probably mow that down. And then here is our brand new row. So we're gonna start in with the dahlias right here, probably the tubers first. We're gonna space them every 12 inches, which is very easy to do because you can see our emitter holes on the drip tape. are spaced every 6 inches, so I can put one here, and so on and so forth, and we'll do 3 rows of them. And then once we've got the tubers in, we'll start in with the plants. And I guess let's start with the multi-pink right here. I'll show you how we plant them kind of close up. Actually, on second thought, let's spread the Biotone starter fertilizer first so that that part's done. Okay, fertilizer is spread. So we're gonna take our ID tag first, of course, and pop that in the ground. And then what I like to do is kind of set mine out. Because I'm doing 3 rows, I wanna make sure I'm kind of doing them in blocks. I do the same thing with our potatoes. Now, if I am planting dahlias in an area that's not tilled up in fluffy soil like this, which is typically what I am doing, I usually don't have a tilled up bed like this. I'll go through with my auger and dig holes with the auger every 12 inches first before laying out tubers. But in this case, it's so fluffy, we get to just like pop the tubers underneath the soil, which is great. So the way you plant a dahlia, well, first of all, let me go through the parts of a dahlia here. You've got your body of the tuber, you've got your neck, and you can see a growth point, also called an eye, right there. You have to have all 3 of those parts intact to get a plant. So we're going to plant our tuber horizontally, not vertically like this. You want to lay it on its side with the growth point facing up. And we want to cover it with just a couple inches of soil. You know what, I'm going to move it over 1 emitter because this soil is still pretty hard right here. This must be where he lifted his tiller up. Shift over. I'm going to dig just a couple inches so we lay our tuber down like this, cover it over. That is it. So these just real easy. You can see the growth point on that one. Lay it down, cover it over. Second variety is lilac thyme, and you can see I left the last tuber out of the previous one that I planted, so I know where to pick up and plant the next one. And I'll continue to do that until we're done. All right, guys, we got all the dahlias planted, and clearly it's later on in the day because the light is way different. Right when I got done watering the dahlias, we made a quick run down to the garden center before they closed to get grass seed, which I'll show you why here in just a second. And then I made dinner and we enjoyed dinner together. Now the kids are out playing and it's very pleasant out here. So I just thought I would show you where we ended up. So we started at the beginning of the row. You can see that, you know, where I put tubers in. It won't look like much for a little while. And then right here are where the little plants started. Got those in the ground. Now this is really different than I usually plant my dahlias in terms of like how far apart I'm spacing the rows, staking them and all that business. I'm just a little bit more relaxed with the whole thing. Usually I plant them in individual rows with like 4 to 6 feet in between each row. And we've got T-post spaced every 8 feet down the row with strings attached so that we can stake the dahlias up as they grow. I'm just taking a very much so more relaxed approach this year, because that's the only way I was going to do it this year, is to be relaxed with it. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe 2, 4, 6, 8 T-posts. We'll do string all the way around the exterior. The middle row is just going to be held up by the outer rows. The weeds will probably grow. If we get flowers, I'll be happy. There's Erin seeding the grass. We'll walk over there in just a second. The rest of this row, like I said, I've got some other seedlings in our greenhouse, so I'm just going to start in with random stuff. I've got gomphrena and feverfew and lots of snapdragons, and I also would like to toss in some seeds. So it should be just kind of a fun, very free, relaxed area. Now, let's hop over here to check out what Erin's doing. Seeding the grass over here. So the brick border is done. It's beautiful. And Erin is putting down the lawn mix grass seed, which will match what we've got up here. In fact, I'm gonna go down here and hop over to the other side. Okay, this makes it a little bit easier. You can see the grass that Erin is going to be matching. The lawn mix is a blend between Kentucky bluegrass and perennial rye, and it's a nice looking lawn. That's what all of this is and all of that out there. But having this brick border done is so amazing. It's gonna help keep the gravel from going into the lawn, and lawn going into the gravel. So what we're gonna do is Erin's gonna take the box blade through behind the tractor, and that kind of fluffs up all the gravel, and it will make it much more thick. Amazingly enough, it just kind of, yeah, it just fluffs it up. And then we'll be able to rake some of it up to the brick so it'll cover this little metal border. So you can see that's what they used to keep them in place. The metal border with the metal pins right there, or like giant nails on both sides. And the grass will grow up to the bricks eventually. And our plan down the road is to continue on with the bricks. For now, it didn't really make much sense because we've got so many other things to do, like the back of the dream stream. I'd love to get that project going, that this is just gonna wait. But eventually I'd like the bricks to line the entire driveway all the way down, bricks lining the whole thing, so we've got just really nice, sharp edges. And you can see they've got it almost done on this other side. They just have to put the border on. How much grass seed are you using here, Erin?
You don't want to know.
Are you over doing it maybe just a little bit?
Did about 50 pounds.
Oh my gosh. 1 pound covers 250 square feet.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wonder how many square feet this is.
I don't know. I'll walk down and show you guys the other end. It's gonna be so pretty. It already looks pretty because you can see the structure now and kind of what we're going for. And this area right here, which visually looks like it's necked down because of all the plants and everything, it is fine. We've had trucks and trailers come through here, totally fine. Okay, so the bricks just curve toward the dirt lands here, and then they end right here, because what we want to be able to do is plant this space up like the rest of it, and then we are gonna put a gate in, which we have. We just didn't have them put them in at the time that the fence went up, because we just weren't sure exactly where, and they said, oh, we can pop a gate in anytime. So I think we're gonna put it in right here. And it'll be a gate big enough to get a gator in. And I think that that will work out perfectly, because it'll give us enough space to plant this area up to kind of hide a little lane, because it's gonna have to be a gator width lane to get to the gate. And it would make the curve a little bit more gentle to get to that one, as opposed to coming in and then having a gate, immediately right there. It would be much too close. But with the heat that we're expecting, I think this will come up real fast.
Yes.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. And you guys, that is it for our projects today. Lots of annuals in. Strawberries are doing awesome, and we ate a bunch of them with our dinner tonight. Grass seed down, dahlias in the ground. Wonderfully productive day. I love it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.